Hello, I'm K.M. Grant, or Katie Grant, and the book that changed my life was a book called Peter Abelard by an author called Helen Waddell. I think she was an academic, actually, but she wrote this wonderful book about a philosopher in the 12th century who had a love affair with a girl called Eloise. I read this book. It was so beautifully written. It was the first time I'd ever been completely swept along, not just by the story, which was a magnificent story, magnificently told, but about how it was written. It was the language that really sort of filled you up, if you know what I mean, and stayed with you. And I've read it many, many, many times since I first read it. I must have been about 13. I was quite a big reader anyway. I'd read a lot of books, but this one, I think, sparked my interest in historical fiction, because for the first time I suddenly realised that you could write a book which made you cry, which was set 500 or 600 years ago. And I think it shook me up and it stayed with me. And although it didn't turn me into a reader, because I already was a reader, it opened another door, I think, for me, which made me feel that if ever I was going to write, that maybe history was something which you could write about in a way which was immediately appealing, even to people in the 20th and 21st century. You could write about things which had happened ages and ages ago. She brought Paris to life. She brought the idea of learning to life in an extraordinary way, which you would have hardly thought possible. And of course, she brought the love affair to life, and that was what really shattered you. I could recite great quantities of this book, because I read it so often now, although I try and keep it away from my desk, because once I start rereading it, even though I now know what happens in every page, I can't stop.